Football fans, who's standing out for you so far this season? We've seen some old veterans find new form and win over the fans once again, and we've also seen some youngsters break onto the scene and make a big impact. Whichever it is, there's been some phenomenal performances in the Premier League this campaign. Join us today as we take a look at some of the biggest shock players of the season so far, and stick around until the end, where we'll look at the man who's almost single-handedly responsible for Arsenal's title push. Marcus Rashford. There's no player in the Premier League who shocked us as much as Marcus Rashford. This time last year, the forward was in the worst form of his career. He had fights with fans, was stuck on the bench, and even went 13 games without scoring. But we've talked about all that before, and the important thing is that he burst back onto the scene. Rashford has been Ten Hag's secret weapon this season, playing as both a central striker and a winger. He's scored pivotal goals in big matches against teams like Arsenal, Manchester City and Liverpool. In 22 Premier League games, he's bagged 9 and assisted another 3. That's crazy for a man who couldn't even get in the starting lineup next season. Rashford just can't seem to do anything wrong right now. Even his new goal celebration has taken the world by storm. He's carried United all the way up to the top of the table, and they look set to seriously challenge for a Champions League spot. And hey, he even got them into the title race for a week. Martin Ødegaard. This Norwegian beast has been a superstar so far this season, and while we maybe should have seen this coming, nobody expected him to take the league by storm. Ødegaard is statistically the best playmaker in the league. He tops the table when it comes to goal-creating actions per 90 minutes with 5.34. That means that he creates an average of 5 chances per game for Arsenal. Not even Kevin De Bruyne comes close. And it's paid off for Ødegaard, as he's picked up 11 goals and 5 assists so far this season. It's not too crazy to say that without him, Arsenal wouldn't be challenging for the title this campaign. They haven't lost a game with Ødegaard in the starting lineup since the 27th of October last year. The midfielder plays defense-splitting passes every few minutes and makes it look effortless while doing so. He's constantly talking to his manager on the sideline, and it shows that he's always willing to learn and improve, and Arteta loves him for it. It's that sort of mentality that's kept Arsenal in the title race this long. Casemiro. Before the season started, Manchester United lacked backbone. McFred had haunted everybody's nightmares for far too long, and they needed someone new. Their answer? A 5-time Champions League winner in Casemiro. But rival fans laughed. They thought that he was past it and too old to be able to adapt to the fast pace of the Premier League. How wrong were they? Casemiro has revolutionised Manchester United's midfield. His experience and leadership has harmonised the dressing room. The midfield is now a solid unit, which has made the Red Devils one of the strongest teams in the league when playing out from the back. It's crazy how quickly Casemiro has taken to English football. Even at 30 years of age, he dictates the tempo of games and makes breathtaking last-ditch tackles to save his team. Time and time again, Casemiro has been the unsung hero for Ten Hag's side this season. Long gone are the days of United's banter double pivot. Casemiro has made the entire league take the Red Devils seriously once again, and they're rising up the table to prove it. Kaoru Mitoma. Brighton's new Japanese winger turned down a professional contract at 18 in order to go to university. Imagine how good he'd be now if he didn't. Mitoma made his debut for the Seagulls this season after joining last year, and he's been nothing short of spectacular. He's averaging a goal every 2 games in the Premier League at the moment. Only Haaland and Kane have better ratios. The winger has also been brilliant with his defending too. He can play fullback and makes an average of 2.04 tackles per game. That puts him in the top 9% of players in the league. Brighton only paid £3 million for Mitoma. Fast forward just a few months and his transfer value has skyrocketed to well over £10 million. It usually takes some time to adapt when a foreign player comes to the Premier League. Did anybody even know him before he came to Brighton? Nobody could have expected this 25-year-old from the J-League to come and tear it up so easily, but it's happening, and we're definitely on board for it. Nick Pope. Newcastle have the best defence in the league by far. At the time of recording, they've only conceded 11 goals in 20 games, and they've got a big man in goal to thank for that. Nick Pope has been phenomenal since joining from Burnley. He's a commanding figure in the net, constantly rearranging his backline and barking orders to keep them focused. It's certainly a method that works. Pope went 10 games without conceding from the start of November all the way up to the very end of January, and he had to make some spectacular saves in that time frame. The Toon keeper faced 19 shots in that stretch of games and saved all of them. Newcastle have had a resurgence for the ages, and it all started with a strong focus on defence. They've got Nick Pope to thank for steadying the ship and leading the backline. Aleksandar Mitrovic. Fulham's talisman has always struggled a bit in the Premier League. While he's put up decent numbers, he's never quite broken through as a proven top-flight striker, but this season is completely different. He smashed the Championship top scorer record last year with 43 goals in 44 games, and he's carried the amazing form into this campaign, already matching his Premier League record by netting 11 times so far this season. He's shattering the glass ceiling and finally establishing himself in the best league in the world. And how are Fulham faring from it? They're up in 7th at the time of recording, and with Mitrovic firing on all cylinders, they could genuinely be in for European football. Miguel Almiron. Who could have ever predicted this type of comeback? Miguel Almiron went 33 games without scoring a league goal last season. It got so bad for the Paraguayan that a drunk Jack Grealish was laughing at him. Embarrassing to say the least, right? But we're all laughing at Grealish now. Almiron has been electric for the Magpies. Like Pope, he's one of many that stands out, but he's shocked us by raising his game to a completely new level. The winger has scored 9 goals already this season. He only managed 1 for the whole campaign last year. Almiron's place in the starting 11 was up for contention, but he quickly shut that down by scoring in 4 consecutive games in October. That's been enough to keep him his spot since then, and he's one of many Magpies flying high under Howe's new management. James Maddison. We have no idea how this midfielder got snubbed by Gareth Southgate at the World Cup. James Maddison didn't play a single minute in Qatar, yet back home in the Premier League, he's carrying Leicester to a mid-table finish. Maddison is a shining star in a poor Foxes side, and without him, we couldn't imagine where they'd be in the table. Even when the rest of the team is out of form, he's constantly turning in 8 out of 10 performances. Maddison loves to step up with a wonder goal from outside the box whenever his team needs it. He's so important for his team, and with 7 goals so far this season, he's single-handedly won so many points for Leicester. And we haven't even mentioned his quality on set pieces. The only thing stopping him right now is injuries. If he can stay fit and stay consistent, he'll definitely be in the conversation when it comes to the best midfielder in the league. And now for our overlooked pick. Oleksandr Zinchenko. Nobody thought Zinchenko would explode onto the scene for Arsenal, not even Pep Guardiola. He was happy to sell the Ukrainian to his close rivals and clearly didn't think he'd amount to much for the Gunners. The world's best manager couldn't have been more wrong. Arteta has moulded Zinchenko into a completely different player, giving him the freedom to drift from the fullback position. This has allowed him to push forward and join the attack. He carries the ball up the pitch and always tries to play progressive passes. Zinchenko leads the Premier League when it comes to progressive passes per 90, averaging 6.75. Even though Kieran Tierney was doing a fine job at left back, the ex-City player came in and completely stole the spotlight. He's shocked the entire league this season, and he's definitely the one who surprised us the most. We never would have thought Zinchenko would be the final piece of the puzzle for Arsenal's title push. Who shocked you the most this season, football fans? Let us know in the comments.